what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Brought back the City Rocks for Rock and Metal Thrive. Happy Tuesday to you all. It is November 2nd? How in the blue fuck did that happen? How did we go from like pandemic to like 2020 being like this wacky year to 2021 now almost being over? We've been going to too many concerts, people. We love it. Before we jump into this episode with a guest that you will have to just listen to the whole entire thing because this episode is incredible. I want to thank our sponsor, Phoenix Fitness. Concerts, yeah, we're still going to them every chance we get. Mosh pits, you know I'm not jumping on them. I mean, hell, I broke my finger in a mosh pit and then continued to mosh the whole entire time. Yes, I wrapped it up to make sure it wouldn't, get too bad, but I still mosh the whole entire time. I don't want to stop. I can't stop, but to be able to do that, I need to make sure my fitness level is on point. Go to the gym, lift them weights, do that cardio like crazy. But I need to be able to recover as well. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in. They have many different supplements to help make your workouts the best possible and help you recover right. They have different things such as pre-workouts, both stim and stim-free, creatines, proteins, AM, PM, and after-workout proteins, BCAA recovery compounds, multivitamins, and more. You can check out all that at fnxfit.com. Link description below. Use the code MSOTD at checkout to get 15% off your entire order. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. But now, you guys know, I usually interview bands on this podcast. But this time we go a little different. We interview someone who is TikTok famous. Yes, we do. So, Erica, LeAnn, from MoshToker. Yes, MoshToker. Incredible person, not going to lie. And what we have here is an incredible episode to figure out how she used her love for rock and metal to create an environment on TikTok called MoshToker with a bunch of different creators to show rock and metal to many more people and become one of the premier rock and metal places on TikTok. We talk about that, how she got into the music, about the music we all love. You get to know a lot more about Erica as a person, and you get to know about her on TikTok as well, where she wants to go in life with it, how she's going to get there, and we motivate her and you to all hell in order to go after your dreams, especially when it comes to music, because, well, that's what we're doing. That's what Erica's doing. That's what we want you to do as well, if that's what you want. That's the key. So sit back, relax. Please welcome Erica, MoshToker. Oh, yeah. Are you guys ready? Because this was easily one of my most enjoyable and favorite conversations I've ever had with somebody on the podcast. Enough with me talking. Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know me. I love to interview bands. I love to interview all these people that are really bringing the rock and metal scene up for all these different people, whether you're old, new, young, whatever it might be. But never had like a social media personality on here before, but that changes today. Thank you to our friend, I believe it was Julian Parnell, aka the Heavy Metal Joker, who during a live stream, I think was talking about her, and all of a sudden, boom, she joined the live stream. We had a good time, and all of a sudden, boom, now we're doing a podcast. Creator of MoshToker on TikTok. She has almost 300,000 followers to this day, over 4 million likes, and every one of her TikToks looked on average between 30 and 40,000 views. So she's really making, rock and metal today something awesome on TikTok. So please welcome Erica LeAnn. So Erica, welcome to Chord Progression Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
I am doing great. How are you?
You know what? It's a little stressful on my end today, but now I'm doing fan-diddly-tastic, mostly because every time I do a podcast, like, okay, even if my energy is really down low to start out, all of a sudden, like, we get it started, I'm just like, okay, here we go. Woo!
Right. It's also the beginning of the week, so you got plenty of time.
I got plenty of time to get, motivated. Of course, there's probably some sort of live show I could go probably see, like, tomorrow or the next day. And, I mean, I don't think I want to wait till Saturday anymore. I got to go see something, get in a mosh pit, go crazy.
Well, I'm feeling really bored today. Yeah. What's at the Forge? What's at the Brave Eagles Club or whatever?
Honestly, I won't be surprised on a Thursday. Like, what's at the Forge down in Joliet? Oh, it's a 2-hour drive for me. Worth it. Okay, let's go.
You're like, tickets are $20. I'm in.
That was basically what it was like for Ice Nine Kills. And then when I found out who they had opening for, I'm like, oh, let's go do it. Then I found out the opener couldn't make it to the show.
I don't
10
know
minutes
if you listen to like Chelsea Grin, but they just released a tour and tickets are literally $18.
Oh, dear God. That sounds like there's going to be absolute mayhem at the Forge for that. My kind of show. Yeah.
Yes, let's go. Falling on a budget.
Hey, I'll deal with it. As long as gas prices, don't go up too crazy, then it will literally be balling on a budget.
No, literally.
Then if they keep going up, balling in luxury for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, Erica, as we start this out, one thing I always like to do with my guests is I like to ask them 3 separate questions to start out the podcast. The first 2 are very easy. If you don't get these right, I will scratch my head and wonder if, you've had like concussions in your past, like myself. I meant like 8 or 9.
The pressure.
I meant like 8 or 9 at this point, so I might actually get those questions wrong. But the third one, it kind of puts you on the spot a little bit, but I ask so many different bands this question as well, so I love to see what the reaction is. I will give you some examples of the crazy stuff I've heard so that you can both have a little more time to think and laugh at other people's misery. So the first question is, what is your name? The second question is, with this whole entire MoshToker thing, what do you do with it? And the third thing is, I want to know a little fun, interesting, wacky story about yourself that will hopefully make me fall out of my chair, smack my head on my table, give me my 9th concussion, and laugh hysterically. I've heard some insane ones from bands coming from bands chloroforming their lead singer, dragging him to a beach in Florida, burying him halfway in the sand, and spraying ketchup all over the place to make it look like his legs got bitten off by a shark. I've also heard ones of, bands driving to one venue or the other where got to go to the bathroom, no bathrooms around. They just go in a cup in the front seat and they throw it out the window. Only for the back window to be open, the cup to come back in and give the drummer sitting in the back a literal golden shower. Or what now might be my favorite one of all time is a band who had their van breakdown. They rented a box truck to drive from Atlanta down to Miami, and it's hot, it's humid. There's 5 guys, only 2 can sit in the cab, 3 have to sit in the box in like 100-degree humidity, and they end up getting pulled over by the cops, and the guys are naked in the back with an air mattress blowing up. When the cop asks what they're doing back there, one of the guys just blatantly says, "Oh, we were wrestling."
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Always like to tell those because, hey, gives you a little time to think, but also, come on, those are funny. You got to laugh at those.
Oh, yeah. No, that's amazing. I'm ready. I think I'm ready to.
All right, let's go.
So my name is Erica LeAnn, and as you mentioned, I'm a creator, one of the creators of MoshToker, and MoshToker is a collaborative group on TikTok with 7 creators, which every single creator kind of specializes, if you will, in a different subgenre of rock. So we have like a deathcore person. We have a couple people that love metalcore. We have a couple pop punk people. I'm more of like the heavy metal, new metal kind of person. And then we also have someone that listens to a ton of like elder emo stuff, for all those millennial emos out there. And for the third question, so this happened actually at Aftershock Festival. So before we went live, I was telling you a little bit about Aftershock. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're a fan of the band Anthrax, but love Anthrax, love Scott Ian. So I was front row, just enjoying myself, having a good time, and suddenly this girl behind me, she had to be like 50s or 60s. She was in a wheelchair, so I let her go in front of me. And she had to be like intoxicated because there's no way you'd do this sober. I don't know. She had to be, yeah. So, so I was right next to her, like people were like pushing. So I was grabbing onto the rail, like gripping onto it to make sure I do not fall on this poor woman. And she kept like grabbing my butt and like grabbing my legs and like pushing me like towards her or like pulling me towards her. I was like, oh, okay, like, fuck yeah, Anthrax. And then all of a sudden she bites my arm and starts like tugging on it. And like, I look at her because I'm like, what? And she's like smiling at me. I guess when a band is that fucking good, you just start biting people. I guess that's what we do in 2021.
I guess so. It's no longer enough to just go into a mosh pit and try and just like push people over or just shoulder check them and go nuts. No. You have to pull people closer and literally bite them to be like, Anthrax!
Like, I love this song. Starts biting someone.
And I mean, it could be a cause of the pandemic where all of a sudden we're back out, people are back out seeing live music and they forgot how to act. Or it could be people trying to fill the void of, they can't be like, fucking Slayer anymore because Slayer is not touring. You gotta be like, Anthrax, I'm gonna bite you. Ah.
Anthrax. Yep. And it wasn't even like their hit song. I couldn't even remember what song it was. It was just so random.
Just some random Anthrax song. It's just like, I love this song, but it's not even like Madhouse or anything. I don't care.
It was not Madhouse. Can confirm. It was not Madhouse.
I'll say if it was Madhouse, that would actually make it seem a lot more normal.
No, yeah. And it wasn't even Indians either.
Again,
I really, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what did they have?
That's my story for you.
That is a crazy story. I'm like, I mean, you might have wanted to like actually get it checked out. Be like, am I going to turn into a zombie now or something? Is this the beginning of the zombie apocalypse? Am I going to become part of the Ice Nine Kills Rainy Day video right now? I don't know.
So far, nothing has happened. So far, I've been pretty good.
Well, that's good because we're a couple weeks after Aftershock, so I think a zombie apocalypse is not coming our way. For most of the world, we're like, yeah, but for like a couple that are really hoping for, it's like, that was our chance. Gotta wait again.
Phew, for now.
Phew, for now. So, of course, I mean, when it comes to rock and metal, when it comes to the MoshToker, again, seeing the fact that you have close to 300,000 followers on the platform, I mean, that's not a small number in any sort of the way. That's a lot, and it comes with, TikTok being one of the premier platforms when it comes to social media today. I mean, it's in the same conversation right now as Facebook is, as Twitter is, as Instagram is. I mean, TikTok is in that conversation once again. So I got to ask to start out with, how'd you come up with the idea to do MoshToker, and what was the whole entire like concept around it and the why to create it? Because I want to know the inspiration behind why you want to get on TikTok with this.
Yeah, so MoshToker specifically. So this was about March. I don't know if you're familiar with a group called Punk Talkers.
I am not.
Okay. Well, you did tell me that you haven't really been on TikTok that much before. So I guess that makes sense. So Punk Talkers was another collaborative group. I believe 7 members as well, but they mostly did just punk music. And in general, when I first started TikTok, that's pretty much all I saw on my For You page. Not complaining necessarily, but that's pretty much all I saw was just like the same bands, like, just punk music. I didn't really see a lot of metal stuff. So I actually got invited to be interviewed to be a part of Punk Talkers. I was really confused about that at first because I'm like, I don't really listen to pop punk that much. Like, I don't know how I qualified for this. But that group eventually ended up falling through, and in between them falling through and getting interviewed, I kind of thought in my head, I'm like, why isn't there a group, like a collaborative group that does more like metal music? I'm like, where's that at? Like, that would be so cool. So that's how I kind of came up with the idea. There's another TikToker named Rena Robin. She's also really big on the platform. And she was the one that actually came to me about getting interviewed. So I remember, clear as day, I was like at a bar doing my homework casually. And I texted her about it, and I was like, look, like, I have this idea about MoshToker. Well, at the time, we didn't have a name. It was just like, I want to do this collaborative group. I want to get a bunch of people that listen to, like, more metal music, and, like, let's see what happens. And she's like, I'll help you out. Like, I'll help you do this. We'll make it happen. And it took about a month and a half to kind of figure out, all right, who do we want in the group? And that's when it kind of led me to the conclusion where I wanted to grab people that, each person brings something different to the table. And that's what MoshToker is all about. At the beginning, I told all these people, I'm like, I think of MoshToker as like the base of a tree. Or let me rethink this analogy because it's been a while. I'm like, wait. Yeah, so that's MoshToker. Well, you know what? Let me back up.
Let's back up a little bit. Let's start
wait a minute. Oh my God. So like rock music, in general, that's like the base of the tree. And then all the branches are the many subgenres of rock/metal. Like you got all kinds of shit. That's what I wanted MoshToker to really represent, where you have creators that show all kinds of bands. Like one day there's a post about Slaughter to Prevail. The next day it's about Chevelle. The next day it's about fucking State Champs. And then the next day it's about Korn. I just wanted it just to showcase everything. Yes.
I mean, well, the one thing that kind of caught my attention in that was when it came to the Punk Talkers thing, and all of a sudden you thought, here's an idea for this same idea, like concept, but for rock and metal music, because there's nothing like that in that space right now. And when it
Right.
comes to really creating an idea, it's like, no, you're not necessarily piggybacking off someone else's idea. They had, like, somebody had an idea, it kind of worked in a way, but let's see where we can grow this even more. And when it comes to MoshToks, like you said, everyone has a different sort of, like, subgenre or genre that they really care a lot more about. Might be death metal, might be deathcore, might be thrash metal, might be, hard rock, might be punk rock, might be post-hardcore, might be whatever it might be. But what it allows is for that on the TikTok platform for that music to have some sort of a home and to have some sort of a personality or some sort of a creator behind it, so that people can get into it, get behind the creator as well, but then also see where other music really comes from. It's kind of leads to becoming more of a discovery tool for a lot of other people that like rock and metal, but also, entertainment purposes behind it too, because it's TikTok. People are going to want to watch what you create with it, because if you're just, oh, here's an album cover, here's a song, go listen. People aren't going to find it that interesting. If you're doing different things on TikTok, you're creating different videos that are going to work within the platform, it's going to be more interesting for people to come and stay. But then the substance they're going to get out of it is, one day, like you said, Slaughter to Prevail, then Chevelle, then it could be something like, older 30 Seconds to Mars, and it could go to Rise Against, it could go to Motionless in White, and it could go to like Chelsea Grin or Born of Osiris out of nowhere. Like, you're going to get a huge variety right there.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the group too, is just like, realistically, the rock/metal community is so big, and everyone comes into it in different ways. They got introduced to different bands. They got introduced to these bands in different kinds of ways. So no matter what your introduction to this community was, somehow our goal is that you can relate to, whether it's one video or multiple videos, or maybe someone posts a video where you're like, oh, I've never heard of that band, or really never really listened to this subgenre in general. Like, thank you for this introduction, to help expand people's music tastes as well. And that's what I really like about it.
Well, absolutely, because like even like the stuff that I've done, it's just that's how I got a lot of more music than I've gotten to. Because I used to be like, oh, I just want to listen to hard rock and punk rock, and that's it, man. Anything with unclean vocals, yeah. And I'm just like, anytime I hear a metalcore band, I'm like, ooh, here we go.
Right. And it's kind of nice too, because like personally, I'm not a big pop punk person or like elder emo music. I'm really not that educated on. I appreciate it a lot, but I'm just not that educated on it. So when I see one of the members, Olive, or one of the members, Rena, post something kind of in that spectrum, I'm like, oh, like low-key, this kind of slaps, like downloads on Spotify. So it's nice. Like, even the members get these introductions.
I'll say if those two people are gonna be looking at more like the pop punk and like the elder emo stuff, I've got some new emo stuff I could send and be like, here, check this out, and all of a sudden, next thing you know.
Yeah, I love new suggestions. Like, that's my favorite thing, when people are like, hey, here's this band, like, check this out. I'm like, thank you so much.
No, I'm chock full of them, so it's like, you give me a subgenre, I can be like, here, go check this out, and all of a sudden, oh.
Absolutely.
So one thing you did mention was, it allows people to really get into rock and metal and any different band, any different subgenre that's out there. And allows for a way to like discover it, because through all of us, like, we've all discovered rock and metal in some capacity, in some way of life that has led us to this point where either, you're going to concerts, you're loving it, you're going to the pit, you're doing podcasts about it, you're making TikToks about it. So how did you get into rock and metal itself? Like, what's the story behind you going from, okay, just starting to listen to music, to all of a sudden getting into the type of music that you're into now? It's all of a sudden, making TikToks basically surrounding all this different kind of music that, makes people want to go to see live shows, go crazy in the pit, crowd surf the crowd surfer, and just have an absolute blast hanging out with the rock and metal family. Because we're not just a group of fans, we're a freaking family.
We truly are a family. And I'm curious as to what your answer would be to this as well. Because this is one of my favorite questions. Like, I feel like it just explains so much about a person's, like, how they got into the genre. But basically, my dad, so growing up, my dad always played in the car like Rob Zombie, Iced Earth, AC/DC, Disturbed, Godsmack. So like little 6-year-old me, like headbanging in the car. So that's pretty much how I got into the genre. And then it's just kind of stuck with me. And there was a point in time, like middle school, where I was just really insecure about it. I'm like, no one else knows who Disturbed is. Like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, interesting. Because, in middle school, like, you want to fit in, and like that definitely was not happening. Mm-hmm. Outcast life. So I just kind of like took a break from that, and then I really revisited it in high school, and then ever since. I mean, now people think it's like my only personality, which I'll take that. But needless to say, it's a big part of my life now, and like I really think it's makes up a big part of who I am as like a person and stuff. So I have to thank my dad for that.
Well, shoot, your dad really, I'll put it this way. Your dad really did a good job there, making sure you knew all the greatness of music. Well, I mean, oddly enough, my story is kind of almost identical to yours. Just like the bands just kind of come in and out in a different way, where it's my dad got me and all stuff because when we were younger, that's what my dad listened to. We listened to a lot of like the 70s and 80s stuff that he listened to. So a lot of Van Halen, ZZ Top, Poison, Electric Light Orchestra, Rush. So we listened to all that stuff. And all of a sudden it was like, I think I went into 4th grade. I went to a different school. I just wanted to fit in. So I'm like, no one's listening to this stuff.
Like, yeah, neither do I.
Yeah. Then it wasn't until like 6th grade or 7th grade when all of a sudden like Guitar Hero 3 came out. We were playing it. And I kind of really got into this one song. It's called Stricken by Disturbed. And I'm just like,
absolutely.
It was David Draymond's voice. I'm like, holy shit. And that was kind of like the first band that I latched onto that was like the band that I was a fan of. I also went to Catholic school as well, so everyone there thought I was like a demon child, and they were trying to like be like, you shouldn't be listening to this music. I brought the Indestructible CD to school one day when I was in 8th grade. My teacher took it from me and said that she wasn't going to give it to me until my mother signed this like note. And when I gave her the note in the car, we did not like go anywhere. Like we read the note and we're laughing hysterically. Next day I gave her my teacher's note back and my mom wrote on there, yeah, I bought the album for him. So they kept trying to like shove Christian like rock music down my throat, and it was just like everything that was bad. They never sent me Skillet, which I'm like, that makes no sense because I actually like Skillet. So
yeah. Fun fact about Indestructible, like that album. So when I was younger, like I'd play like Webkins and Wizard 101 and World of Warcraft, all that shit. And my dad's like old ass Dell computer, and his background was that album cover, like growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of also want to meet your dad now because when I worked at this previous full-time job that I was at right out of college, like it was like, okay, you got the backgrounds and you could customize it, and I got yelled at because my background was a Disturbed cover, and they're like, it's too violent. I'm like, but it's an album cover. But it's I'm like, but the album actually has substance.
Songs.
Like, but the album has substance behind it, and all of a sudden they told me to change it, and I just changed it to the Wolves cover from Rise Against, and they're just like, that still looks a little aggressive. I'm like, I'm not changing this one.
Oh my god! You know what I've realized? Just the more and more I talk to people that are in the metal community, we really all be living the same lives. Like we have all been told the same things, like about, oh, you're a Satanist, you're this and this and this. And it's just so funny to me. Like we're all living the same lives. And I think that's why we're just all a big family. We just get each other.
Absolutely, because we've all gone through points in time where we've been kind of ridiculed. We've been kind of looked down upon because of the music that we like. But it's when we get to meet up with other people that like that same kind of music. When we go to live shows and we see people from all different walks of life that we're all there just to see a band like Ice Nine Kills or Motionless and White, or we're there to see Disturbed. And it's just, I'm seeing people that are, 50, 60 years old that look like, they should be like, set for retirement, and they're chilling like right on the gate, and they're just going nuts in the front of the crowd. And there's people that are like, there's 5 or 6 year olds in the crowd, like they have their headphones on and they're in the mosh pit, and we just like clear out and we're like, okay, kids, do what you got to do. Like we're loving this. And it's awesome. It's just a whole family vibe because we've all gone through similar things. We all know how it feels to be left out. And this is a spot in like when it comes to rock metal that if you like the music, you're going to be accepted. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, what you believe. All that matters is you like the music and you're going to have a good time.
Except the gatekeepers, but we like in the elitists. We try to forget about those ones though.
Yeah, I made a whole YouTube video about that, and people actually kind of like that one, which I was kind of surprised. I'm like, who?
Oh, it's about like gatekeeping and elitists and.
Yeah, it all surrounded the when Baby Metal announced that they were like disappearing for a while, and people were like good, Baby Metal can go away. I'm like, yeah, that's probably not the best idea to say that. You kind of look like a dick. Yeah. Yep.
Like you kind of look stupid there. Yeah.
It's like there are people that really like really like it, and it's their introduction into the heavier stuff with rock and metal because they listen to Road to Resistance. All of a sudden, they're gonna want to check out Dragon Force because it's got a similar vibe to the same song. To that song, right. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. But if you're gonna, Metal
is great. They're great live. They're awesome. I don't know what they were talking about. I mean, but the beauty of music is that it's very subjective. You could like, I've showed people System of a Down. They're like, this is garbage. Like what am I listening to? You know, but then in your eyes, you're like, what? Like this is beautiful. Like this is a masterpiece.
People. I show people System It Down. All of a sudden, they're like, "What the hell is this?" And all of a sudden, me and my brother are driving the car when we're in like high school. And we're just singing Cigarro back and forth to each other.
Suddenly, you're going like 80 miles per hour. You're like, whoop. Sorry, I got a little too ahead of myself there.
No, I think we were only going 30 miles an hour because it was on a local street. There was one time I did end up accidentally going 110 while blasting Rise Against and didn't even realize it. I just like, why are these cars going so slow? Oh shit!
You're like, oh, God. You just get so into the zone.
Gets on the zone. I'm like, and if I hit something, well, that's just, Demolition Derby mosh pit, which I wanted to have done during the pandemic. I'm like, I will buy like a $200, used car, drive it up to like when Beartooth did their outdoor show in Oshkosh. I'm just like,
I was there.
I couldn't get to it because
oh my God. I have such a funny story about that show actually as well.
I want to hear it.
Oh my God. Like what an eventful fucking concert. I'm sorry, like freaking concert.
Oh, you can swear all the fuck you want. I don't give a shit.
Okay. Cool. So like trigger warning, like I'm going to mention alcohol. Like I know that might be a trigger for some people. So I just want to like mention that really quick. So, problem number one is I put tequila in a plastic bag. Why did I do that? What was my logic with that? I don't know. And I started drinking the tequila from the plastic bag. Like I cut a hole at the bottom, like it was frosting or something. Don't know what my thought process was going there. That was problem number one. And then, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling anything. And when we stopped at a gas station, I got like a huge like 4 Loco. I'm like, yes.
Oh, dear God.
Drank the entire thing. And then I brought like a football. Like I love playing catch. So, it was in a parking lot. The cars were lined up. We got there pretty early. So we're like, let's play catch with this football. And I got hit in the nose, had like a severe nosebleed. And then after that, this guy comes up to us. And this is when my memory starts to get kind of faded. But I was very intoxicated at this point. And this guy comes up to us. He's like, hey, like, I forgot what his association with Beartooth is, but he's like, I would like to interview you. And this man interviews me and like, I really don't remember it. But my friends told me that I was like very expressive with my hands and I was like so into it. I'm like, where is this interview at? Like, I need to watch this because it was probably incredibly cringy.
Have you ever found that interview yet?
No. He probably was like, yeah, this girl, like, I'm not posting this.
It's like, yeah, we can't necessarily use this. All of a sudden, watching like, maybe give it like 2-3 years. All of a sudden, they're like, Caleb Shumwell's gonna have like a pandemic blooper reel, and then your interview is gonna be in this video.
They said I was fine though. So I'm like, okay, cool. No clue what I told that guy. No idea.
Maybe just been like some like, going deep into like why you like Beartooth and just like really gotten like in depth in like a couple of songs or something like that, which, they might not have been, necessarily like expecting. They're like, probably like, oh, happy to see Beartooth live. And also you're just like going into this whole entire like 10-minute spiel about how important Beartooth is, which of course with their music, I'm like, yeah, I could easily see something like that.
I remember
happening.
They were asking questions. It was about like the pandemic and like how it's affecting like the rock community and all. It was stuff along those kinds of lines, but who knows what I was saying.
it was a very 2020 interview. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So jumping back more into the TikTok side of things, because I gotta ask, did you ever expect to get to the level of TikTok you are right now? Of course, like I said, like almost 300,000 followers, 4 million likes across like every single video that you've ever made. And just continue to increase every single day. Because I think I saw you put out a new video pretty much every single day. And consistently, I mean, when you're averaging like an average, again, between 30 to 40,000 views on each video, like that's no small feat. There's very few creators that even get close to that.
Yeah, not at all. Like it's seriously like, even like when you say those numbers out loud, I'm like, whoa, like really? Like it's so weird to like put into perspective, like how many people that is. And I mean, getting into TikTok, it was just for fun. It was the pandemic boredom. You're like, no, I'm not going to get TikTok. All right, fine. I'm bored. I'm going to get TikTok kind of thing. And just growing up, like, especially like personally, where I grew up in, not a lot of people listen to metal music. So I've always had this like predisposition in my head that the metal community is small, like there's not a lot of people. So when I see that number, I'm like, that many people like metal music? Like, really? I don't know. It's just because growing up, again, like I have like one friend like currently that listens to like metal music. So it's so weird. It blows my mind, and like every single day I just think like how grateful I am to have this opportunity and to be able to connect, because I know people that follow me as well, like some people reach out to me like, oh, I've met through like friends through your page and stuff, and that honestly just warms my heart. Like that is the coolest thing that I can like offer that to somebody, you know.
Like the growth of your TikTok page, the growth of you as a TikTok personality and as a creator is bringing people together in the rock and metal community. Like that adds so much more to it, to again bring people together where they might have been like you, where you grew up. It's just there's not that many people that expressively like rock and metal and may be, a little bit more afraid to show it. But then all of a sudden you go see a live show and, there's like 4,000 or 5,000 people there for a band that, really well, but apparently, no one else really knows.
Right.
Or like, I'm trying to think of another good example. Like, hell, when I went to go see A Day to Remember in October here in Milwaukee, it was like, I showed up there. I found one person that I knew there, but I found like 10 other people that I've seen them before. I don't know their names. I know their faces though, because I see them at every freaking show, and they're my no-name concert family. I'm like, what's up, everybody? Giving people high fives, which is a bad idea because, of course, as a show I broke my finger at and kept going to the pit. I'm just like, high five. Shit.
High five. Wow. Okay, let's keep going.
Pretty much, I was like, okay, let's just wrap this up. Okay, I'm like, I should probably not do anything during this time because, make sure the finger stays together. All of a sudden, here comes the day. Remember, they start playing right back at it again. I'm like,
yeah, right back at it again.
I'm just like, yep, this has happened. Then they go into second sucks. I'm just like, okay, now
you're like,
you drew me in. Yeah. Now I'm not gonna get out. Then they start a huge circle
I'm not
pit.
missing this.
Then it's a huge circle pit for paranoia. I'm like, okay, this my family knows. I am not leaving this whatsoever. Like I am stuck here.
Dedication. Nothing but respect, man. Nothing but respect.
Hey, wait, when you love something, you're just gonna go at it full force. Just
I know.
Mosh pit. Ah!
But like with TikTok, it still makes me like in awe. It still leaves me speechless whenever, like, for example, if I post something with like Trivium's a very successful band. They're very huge, but it still blows my mind. Like when people comment, they're like, "I love this song." I'm like, really? Like you listen to this band? Like I don't know. It's just still so crazy to me.
See, where I can kind of understand a little bit more of that is when it comes to, doing what I do, being online with all the music stuff. It's when I get to connect with people, it's more normal for me to understand, of course, there's people out there that like the same kind of music I do. But when I get to meet people in person, when it's not at a concert, though, when it's like just out anywhere else and I found out they like the same music I do, it's like that scene in Step Brothers, like, did we just become best friends? Yup.
No, seriously, it is. It's like the Spider-Man meme where you're like, it's literally how it feels. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's like I've got like guns up. I'm like, okay, I've got my above me would be like Rise Against. All of a sudden, like above me would be like System of a Down. Above my buddy Chris, it would be like, shoot, I'm trying to think what his favorite band. It would probably be Beartooth, and we're just like, hey.
No, but like I feel like, and this may sound dramatic, but I said what I said. Like when you meet someone and you both listen to the same music, I feel like you connect on such a deeper and like special kind of level that you don't connect with other people. Like connection through music is just so different, I feel like.
I think I can kind of explain that a little bit to
I'm all ears.
Okay, so it's similar why people listen to the music they listen to. It's because they have a positive reaction to when they listen to it. They have it associated with positive experiences. No matter what those experiences are, it could be something that is traumatic. It could be something that's horrible, but it could be related to that music that shows them how far they've come since that moment, which is something that, when it comes to listening to bands like Rise Against, when it comes to listening to Skill, when it comes to listening to like some older 30 Seconds of Mars, that's it for me. When it comes to really building up on where I want to go, that's where I get into like Motions of White, Ice Nine Kills, Falling in Reverse. Like I start getting into more of that stuff. So when it comes down to it, we have these different positive reactions. And when it comes to listening to rock and metal for us specifically, we listen to the instrumentals, we listen to the vocals, the cleans, the uncleans. We listen to the way they tell the stories and tell the emotions that are being put out there. And we relate to them a lot more directly. And the reason why we all connect, especially as rock and metal fans, is because when we listen to those songs, we're all experiencing those same emotions. When it comes to the specifics of how we're experiencing those emotions are completely different because we are different people. We've gone through different things in life, but we are connecting because we understand the emotions. We can understand that what we went through and what someone else went through might be different, but the emotion behind there is similar. The trauma behind there might be similar. The happiness, the joy, whatever it might be. So we can connect on that level because we understand that thought. We understand that feeling, and we can empathize towards that.
Oh, no, that makes 1000% sense. And it's funny too. It kind of brings up a similar, or just some like a little like segment, like when, you know, like that stereotype, or not even like a stereotype, but like people that are just very close-minded, like, oh, you can't even understand what they're saying and stuff like that. But it's like, but like you feel it so deeply, like when you listen to heavier quote unquote shit, like maybe like death metal or deathcore, black metal, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something where, because I think I had a discussion about this with one of my friends who loves country music, where it's, we listen to the instrumentals and we listen to the vocals for rock and metal, and when we listen to it, those are our guides through the whole entire experience. Like, we feel the emotion through the instrumentals. We feel emotion through the way the vocals are sung, not the way not the lyrics. When it comes to country, it's like, it's more of the lyrics that are telling the story, and the instrumentals that are more the accent. It feels like with rock and metal, it's the other way around. So I'm like, oh, now I kind of understand where you're coming from. And he's like, now I understand where you're coming from. We're like, okay, cool. High five. Done.
You're like, done. Moving on.
It's like, done, moving on. And then he's like, you want to go see Steel Panther live? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like,
Steel Panthers, they're awesome. I love seeing them.
I get to see them. Well,
they're like kind of problematic, but
yeah, I saw them at Rockfest this year, and I actually left during their set because they like to joke a lot during their set, which I get, but when I'm there and you're joking for 10 straight minutes and you have like an hour to be on stage, I'm like, you're just joking for 10 minutes at this point? Like, you're not playing any music? I'll go somewhere else now.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands that are guilty of that, where they spend too much time talking and stuff like that. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love when bands are really interactive with their crowds, and most of the times I often deliver like really important messages that like people can resonate with, and I think that's really awesome. But at the same time, it's like you could have squeezed in 3 more songs.
You got to find that happy medium of crowd interaction and time to talk with the crowd, and like maybe tell some stories a little bit, have a good time there. But you don't want to overdo it. But you also don't want to underdo it as well, because I've seen bands that have gone up there, have played 12 or 13 songs, no crowd interaction, and walked off. I'm just like,
yeah.
Well, huh? Like, did you even want to be here? But then I've seen bands that have talked too much. I'm just like, okay, can we hear some music? When you find that like happy medium point in there, ooh, now you're flying. Oh,
yeah. I would say System of a Down's a good example. Like, they don't really talk that much. It's just kind of like flying through. But also they perform, like, I think when I saw them last, they played like 26 songs. So, I was very satisfied with that. 26? Yeah, 26 System of a Down songs, like, whoo.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah. Why was I not at that show? Because that sounds like a fucking blast.
It was Chicago Open Air. I don't know if you've heard of Chicago Open Air, right? Well, it was a festival for like 3 years, and they stopped, but...
Yep, I'm aware of Chicago Open Air. Again, I live 90 miles north.
I know, it's so nice. I can like spit out these like venues and festivals, and you're like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like, I understand what you're saying, and I know where that is. I've been there before.
Yep. It's nice. It's nice. Usually, like, a lot of my friends that are in the metal community, a lot of them are from like California or New York and stuff like that. So when I say, oh yeah, there was this festival called Chicago Open Air, I have to kind of like break it down and talk about the whole thing, or like Summerfest is another really good example where they're like, what?
Yeah, and then you bring up Summerfest and you're just like, oh dear Lord, I've got stories.
Yeah.
Like
where we were literally in the same crowd.
Yeah, we were literally in the same crowd this year for Rise Against and didn't even know it. Or, from 2 years ago from Summerfest when August Burns Red played, because you know how the benches are down there, which you're aware of.
Yep.
So imagine people trying to mosh in between the barricade and that front bench, and it not going well, and people falling over the benches, potentially like ripping up their knees, me almost tearing my ACL 7 times. All of a sudden, we look over to the right side, because I was on the left side stage, we look over to the right, and they're picking up the benches to give people room to mosh. We're like, oh, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I remember I saw Knuckle Puck one year, and I was like, circle pit, and everyone's just kind of standing there because they're like,
we can't.
We're standing on a bench. And then like he's like, I don't care, do it anyways. There were not any circle pits.
No. Well, even for falling in reverses here, Ronnie's like, you guys aren't moving that much. Wait, are you saying on benches? We're like, yeah, we're saying benches. Like, now, if this was 7 years ago, I would have told you to pick those benches up and go crazy. But this is 2021, and I don't want to get sued.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just like, thank you for understanding our pain, sir.
Yeah. No, it's tough because the whole time you're playing a balancing game, like trying not to fall off. Because when you jump and go too hard, it's like it's like a domino effect. You're gonna hit the person in front of you, and then it's game over. Like,
oh yeah, that has happened plenty of times when I was there when I was younger and saw Hollywood Undead.
I was there. I already know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what show that was.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was a die-hard fan from like 2011 to like 2015 or something. Die-hard fan.
Yeah, I think that, God, what year was that show? That one that was like the total domino effect. I think it was 2012 at Summerfest. I think it was that one where, because I just remember, like, we were on the side of the stage, like, we were on one of the sides, and, like, I think it was the right side, but, like, on the edge of the benches, and, like, there was a domino effect, all of a sudden, all of us, like, fell over on the side, and we started a mosh pit, like, on the side of the stage, where this one dude, literally, I think he had to be, like, 240 pounds, but he was small, like, jacked, and it was just, like, yeah, this guy's gonna ruin our lives, because I'm, like, maybe 17 at that time, like, yeah, I don't want to necessarily go in and die right now. Now, if I saw that, I'd be like, let's go!
Let's go! Great band. And that brings up a good point. Like, right now I'm kind of going through in my head, like, speculations, like who's gonna be at the festivals next year. And you know what? Where is Hollywood Undead?
Yeah, they weren't
at any festivals this year.
That's right.
I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm throwing them on my speculation list now. They're officially on it.
Honestly, what I want to see is in 2022 is I want to see them go back on tour and do like maybe either just like a co-headline tour or do one where it's them and From Ashes to New.
Ooh, that'd be cool. I can see that.
It was supposed to happen in 2020, but pandemic. Because I did ticket for it. It was Hollywood Undead, Bad Wolves, Fire from the Gods, and From Ashes to New. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah. Gosh, I have been waiting to see Fire from the Gods. They're supposed to be Incarceration, then they pulled out, and I'm like, oh, I've been waiting. I'm like, ah!
Alrighty, so because you said you've gone to a lot of festivals, like you went to Incarceration, you went to Abstract. Did you go to Louder Than Life as well?
Yep.
More festivals than I am. You're making me jealous over here, Erica.
It was like every 2 weeks. It was like Incarceration, 2 weeks later, Louder Than Life, 2 weeks later, Aftershock. I'm trying to figure out how I can manage to go to Welcome to Rockville, because I might as well at this point.
I'm still trying to figure out the same thing myself. I'm like, how the hell can I get down there?
Yeah, because it's like an hour from Orlando. So I'm like, how can I make this happen?
Yeah, isn't it at Daytona International Speedway?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like an hour away, and hell, you get a hotel, just literally be right on the beach. So all of a sudden, wake up, hang on the beach for a bit, and then go and see
fucking mosh to Mudvayne.
Or if you're me, go and mosh to literally every band that you can possibly find. Yeah. That was me at Blue Ridge. I think I moshed to a total of like, I want to say like anywhere between 25 and 30 bands.
That's, it was like you're getting your money's worth.
Anytime there was a pit, like, and people started calling me, but just calling me Milwaukee because like they didn't know what my name was, but like that dude's the dude from Milwaukee, so they just started calling me Milwaukee because they're like, we see you in the pit every time, we need to call you something. Yeah.
So like, I recognize you. You need a nickname.
Oh yeah, because I always wore the same hat every single day, so they're just like, it's that guy.
It's him. That's awesome.
And I call that branding, everybody. But okay, so 2022, festivals as we've seen in 2021, full go. So 2022. What bands are on your, they got to come out, watch list. Not Hollywood Undead because we know they're already on the list.
Oh, so not like speculation, more bands that I want to see.
Okay, we'll do bands you want to see and then speculation. So
yeah. Okay. We'll do both. I mean, I'm biased because System of a Down's my number one band, and I'm still so salty that they're currently in California and I am not there right now. So System of a Down, 1000%. I believe it was confirmed, even though I cannot find this written on paper and like a document online, but Avenged Sevenfold is supposedly headlining. I know. Me getting an Avenged Sevenfold tattoo like last week. They're gonna be at Aftershock. So I'm like, yep, there goes my money. Yep, it's happening. So yeah, Avenged Sevenfold's on there. I want to see Godsmack. I feel like this year they were a little quiet, like in terms of like performing and stuff like that. I want to see goddamn Fire from the Gods. I'm so upset that I keep missing them. I want to see Parkway Drive. Never seen them before. I know. Ooh, you know what would be so cool? And it's because I'm looking at my vinyls right now. Like I don't even know if this would even happen, but like, what if fucking like Blue Oyster Cult?
Ooh.
Like, what if out of nowhere, not necessarily like a metal festival, I could see them doing, actually, I don't even know if I could see them doing like any festival.
Summerfest.
Actually, we're doing like a couple shows though.
Summerfest, that'd be your best bet. For
Yeah.
Blue Oyster Cult.
They wouldn't do Lollapalooza, but I can see Summerfest. That would be sick.
Well, shit, if they do Summerfest, all of a sudden I'm going to get a message and be like, okay, so Blue Oyster Cult's at Summerfest. Are you getting tickets to that? It's just like, I don't care if it's like, you know, the amphitheater stage where you have to get the special tickets for it, or if it's like the BMO Harris stage where it's like they have like the first like 10 rows. You have to get like specials where they're like $5. I'd be like, yeah, I'll throw down money on that. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah. But how about you? Like what are some bands that you are like, oh, if they're on this list, like I'm there. Well, Rise Against.
Well, the four for me that I'm like, if I see them on the list, like I am there because I'll say six because I never have a bad time when I see them live. Is Rise Against, Ice Nine Kills, Motionless in White, Falling in Reverse, Beartooth, and A Day to Remember. Like if I see them on a bill, I'm like, I want to be there because I have so much fun seeing those bands play. But the ones that I would like, if you know, I'd love to finally be able to see System of a Down for the first time because I want to go absolutely ape crazy during every single one of those songs.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other bands do I want? There's a smaller band called Avoid. They're gonna be at Welcome to Rockville. I'm just like, and they were supposed to open up for Ice Nine Kills at the Forge, but they're because they were playing at Louder Than Life, I think the day beforehand, their band broke down on the way to there, so they couldn't make it in time. And I found out 10 minutes before they were supposed to start because their lead singer messed me. I'm just like, damn it! I'm mad at the situation. I'm not mad at you, Benny.
Yeah. You're like, I'm just mad that this is happening right now.
So I want to see them. I want to see The Warning at some point. I mean, like, every band I've had in the podcast, but like, there's a couple specifically that I really want to see. Let's see, who else? I mean, like, as much as I like Disturbed, I'm not sure about a festival show. I'd much rather see like an arena show just because I can be a lot closer and the stage setup is a lot cooler.
Yeah, they were at Incarceration. They performed right after, unfortunately, MGK. And it was so funny because before Down with the Sickness, he put on a mask. He's like, oh, so I heard, I forgot how he worded it, but basically referencing what MGK was saying about Corey Taylor with like weird guys wearing masks, and he put on like a mask. It was great. They're pretty good though with festivals, I will say.
Because I've seen him twice at arena shows, once here in Milwaukee and once at Allstate Arena in Chicago, and it was I
was there.
There's another one.
There's another one. I already know exactly what tour you were talking about.
Yep, yeah, the one.
I believe what was 3 Days Grace there.
The one in Chicago, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 3 Days Grace opened for him. I was on the left side of the stage, right on the rail, because there's a long story about that. But I basically met like one of the biggest like Disturbed fans I think you could ever possibly meet, and she basically saved me a spot up front for that show. And then she showed up in Milwaukee, end up getting tickets for that one, and gave me your pre-sale code so I could get a ticket for the floor, and then saved me a spot up front as well. Along with when she got she had a bunch of stuff that she got signed by the band. She got a couple of signed vinyls from the Believe album, but they're like picture vinyls, so it looks like the album cover is. And she gave me one. It is currently hanging up somewhere back there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, in the corner.
Oh, that's awesome.
Along with the where's the flag that's also right there. The Israel flag with the all religion Disturbed symbol from Believe on there.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome. Like, that's awesome. I love that.
So like as much as I want to
podcast, like, do people see that, or was that like an exclusive? Like only I was able to see that.
I barely show anybody that. Like, I barely actually move the camera. So most people see, like, the decks and the flag, and that's it. So, I mean, like, I've even showed you, like, the poster I've even above my desk as well. So, no, you're getting the exclusive on that, like, what my setup looks like. But shit, I'm trying to think what other bands, like, do I really want? I really want to see Hollywood Undead again. Like, I feel like there's so many other bands that I've already seen. I'm like, I'd just be seeing them again. Bad Omens. I need to see Bad Omens.
Yeah, they're at Incarceration. They're absolutely amazing.
They were at Blue Ridge, but I missed them because a band that was on the podcast was playing at the same time, and I supported them instead of going to see Bad Omens.
Hey, that's okay, though.
There'll
be other opportunities. You know, though, and I just thought of this, if Ghost was at any festival, I'm dropping all my money. I love the love that I have for that band. I love Ghost so much.
So, they're going on tour with Volbeat, right?
Yes.
They're coming to Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, they're I'm going to the Chicago show. Allstate Arena.
Here at the good old Pfizer Forum. So, shit. It's like we're seeing the same show, but we're seeing it in different places this time.
I know! Oh my god.
Oh well, yeah. But I'm trying to think, like, speculative, like, what bands do I think they could be coming to festivals? I think System of a Down might, be headlining a couple of them. Now that, hopefully with international travel being allowed, Bring Me the Horizon. Hopefully they play a lot of the harder stuff because that's what I like, but that's just me.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I didn't get to see them either.
Well, because I know they're doing a run here in the United States, but Architects.
Oh yeah, they're supposed to be at Welcome to Rockville, and I think they dropped out like a while ago.
Yeah, and then like a bunch of the Australian metalcore bands like Make Them Suffer, Polaris, Amity Affliction, Parkway Drive.
I'm waiting. Ugh, that'd be so cool if they can manage that.
It would be cool, but after the podcast over, after it's off the record, I do have something from Amity Affliction that I can tell you, but I'm not going to say it live because I don't want to say it live because it's not, for sure.
Ooh, another exclusive.
it'll be an exclusive off the record, but like a lot of the bands that like I think will be speculative, like to come over, like to like headline festivals. A lot of them will be coming over from Europe and from Australia because hopefully at that point travel will be like non-restrictive. Yeah. So we can actually see that happen. Or even get like, like Crystal Lake come over from Japan. Yeah.
So there's two bands that are on my speculation. The first one's kind of weird, but Red Hot Chili Peppers, because they just announced that tour.
Yep.
And it's during the summertime. So they're on my speculation for Lollapalooza. I'm sure you know what Lollapalooza is since you're from the Midwest.
Very much so.
And Puddle of Mud is also on my speculation. I know.
Really?
Yeah. I forgot where I got this information from, to be honest, but I saw something about like them touring next year. So I'm like, throwing them on. So they're on my speculation. That would be so cool.
That would be cool to see kind of Puddle of Mud, even though like I'm not the biggest Puddle of Mud fan, but like, if they're going to be at a festival, it feels like it's something I got to go and do once at least.
You tell someone that and they'd be like, oh, like I kind of want to go, Like you wouldn't think about it, but you're like, oh, like that's kind of cool.
It's like I went to go see Drowning Pool. Why? Because I want to have bodies hit the floor, literally.
You know what? I believe they just changed all their dates till next year. So I think they have a good chance as well.
Oh yeah, they definitely have a good chance because they were supposed to do stuff in like the end of the year for 2021 with I think it was El Nino, but they postponed that to 2022. I think all the dates might be almost set for that, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you're a Demon Hunter fan, but they're also on my speculation.
I've really not listened that much Demon Hunter at all, so I'm kind of in the dark on that one.
Okay, so they're like a Christian heavy metal band.
Interesting.
And they're one of my favorite bands of all time. Like I don't identify as a Christian or anything, but like they fucking slap. They're great. They're great.
Hey, when it comes to just like whatever you believe, whatever you write music about, yeah, it's fine. You don't have to necessarily agree with what the artist said, but the music slaps. If you want to enjoy it, if you get positive experience out of it, even though you might not necessarily fully 100% agree with like the artist's politics, the artist's religion, whatever it might be, but you like the music, fuck yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny too, or at least I think this way. Like I listen to them. I also listen to Skillet, and like I'm like, really? Like I wouldn't think of them as like labeled as like a Christian kind of band. Like I don't know. I just don't like think of it like that when I'm listening to their music. Like I just never got that vibe.
When it comes to Skillet, though, it's like the way I see it is, especially ever since the Comatose album came out, is their stuff, everything that they write definitely has a Christian base to it, but they leave it a lot looser so that it's a lot easier to connect with other aspects of life. So if you listen to a song like Not Gonna Die, it has so much, has a wider net to be cast in terms of how people can relate to it, because it talks more about, perseverance through hard times.
Oh yeah, quite a banger of a song, by the way. Great song.
Oh, that was like heavy on rotation for me in 2017 when things were not going very well in life. Like that was one of the songs that just like kept me going. Not gonna lie, so it always has a special place in here.
And that actually, I have a question for you, because this is also the question that I love to ask people. Like you mentioned earlier, like so many people go through different like things in life that are hard, like everyone goes through their struggles, their challenges. What are bands that are like your comfort bands, or bands that help you get through those really hard times?
Ooh, okay, here we go. So one of them, and like, because I always think about like when I was going through that super hard time, what bands were I listening to? And not gonna lie, like when I was going through a really tough time in 2017, I did not want to listen to Rise Against. It was because as many of the positive emotions I had and experiences and memories I had behind their music, a lot of that had turned to negative due to the situation that had happened. But luckily for me, it was like Wolves had come out right as the situation was unfolding, so I didn't have any memories tied to the Wolves album. But all of a sudden, it's like I went to go see the band play live at JJO Sonic Boom Fest. That was in Janesville, Wisconsin, which lasted like only a couple of years. R.I.P. But I went there, saw Rise Against by myself. Like I just want to just like take my favorite band back from the first note. Like I forgot everything that bad was going on in life. Like I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. Jumped in my first mosh pit. I'm like, I don't care how bad this gets. I will not lose Rise Against. I've got this. Like that's a band that always makes me remember me. Skillet's another one of those. 30 Seconds to Mars from their first 3 albums specifically is one for me for that. And then honestly, as of late, I'm not gonna lie, Falling in Reverse. It's if I listen to like the older stuff, like from Drugging Me As You and from Fashionably Late, I'm just like, this is just fun as hell to listen to. Like it just gets me all like in a happy vibe. But I listen to like the stuff off the trilogy. I listen to Popular Monster, which is I think like one of my favorite songs of all time. I'm like, oh, this is deep, this is heavy. And I'm like, I'm starting to like get like that, fire back in me. It's like, fuck yeah, here we go. Yeah. So like those 4, along with like, I still like Ice Nine Kills, even though, the whole Halloween thing, like it just adds so much more to just the confidence booster in a way. Same thing with Motionless in White, which again, kind of odd, but I still roll with it.
Oh yeah. Actually, for Falling in Reverse, one of my favorite songs is Don't Mess With Ouija Boards. I love that song.
That is a good song.
Underrated in my opinion. I feel like not a lot of people talk about that song.
Very much so. But now I have to pass the question back to you as well. So what are some of those bands that, when you listen to just bring you comfort, maybe in those tougher times, if you're going through a real tough time in life, or if you're just going through a little like rough patch? It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be small, but like those bands that just bring you comfort and bring you back to who you are as a person.
Oh yeah. So immediately, like 3 Days Grace was a huge band that got me through a lot. This is not a band, but Eminem also got me through so much. And then as of lately, like at Loud Live, I had like a traumatic thing happen to me, like during the Metallica show. And the band Avatar is like my comfort band. Like I listen to them and I just feel this like sense of comfort, and like I love them so much. I don't know if you listen to Avatar at all or have ever seen them live. Oh my gosh, they're so fucking cool. I love Avatar.
I've had a chance to go see Avatar live at Louder Than Life, and I missed it, I believe, because I went to go see Wage War instead.
Wait, you were at Louder Than Life?
No, not Louder Than Life. Blue Ridge.
I was like, wait a minute.
I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, there's my mess up for the day. Could have had a V8 moment right there, but yep, there we go. But I missed them for Wage War at Blue Ridge. So I've had a chance to see Avatar, and I've never gone, and because it's usually just like, before the pandemic hits, I was just a little more hesitant to just randomly travel to shows. And now I'm just like, oh, there's a show I want to see. It's only 2 hours away on a Tuesday. Well, looks like I'm going to, go to work early and then just have to be tired the next day. But fuck it. It's worth it.
I am very guilty of that. Just dropping all my responsibilities to make these shows.
Yeah, but
1000%.
I'll say, Erica, I always think about this when it comes to those moments where, yeah, it's, it's kind of weird. It's like, drop those responsibilities because it seems like, the opposite thing of what you should be doing. But think ahead like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Think about it to the point in time where, you're 80, 90 years old, you're sitting in a chair and you're just like remembering, like, you're not going to remember the times where you were responsible and sat at home and got a good night's sleep and went to work the next day. No, you remember a time where all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I said, fuck this. I don't care about being tired. I'm going to go see this show and I'm going to make it happen. I mean,
1000%. You're only young for so long, especially like live out your 20s. I tell people that all the time. Like when people are like, girl, like you're crazy, like you're always doing all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I am living out my 20s because, again, like when you're older, like, sitting in a chair when you're older, you'll be like, wow, that's what I did. Like that's how I spent my 20s.
Well, I always think about, the entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V?
No, actually.
All right. If you ever get a chance to listen to something, because listening to his stuff really kind of got me into okay, starting to do the music thing myself. It was kind of like the igniting the fire when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And one of the biggest reasons that I pay attention to him is just because he seems to be ahead of the curve on everything. TikTok being one of them. And I'm just like, yeah, I totally missed the boat on that, but it just wasn't for me. Clearly, you didn't miss the boat on that one. Like I said, almost 300,000 followers and growing every single day. Come on, you're into it. But there was something that he always said, and I do remember doing something similar when I was a kid, where it was, he always talks about, when he was a kid, going to nursing homes and visiting older people and talking to them about stuff in life. And a lot of people were talking about what they wish they would have done. They weren't focused on what they did. It was they were living with more regret, and you can see it in their eyes. And that's something you don't want to live with as you go on in life. So, and I even did that myself too one time when my grandpa was in the VA hospital. I was just talking to other people that were around there, and it was kind of similar. It's, why would you live with memories? Don't live with the regret of the things you didn't do. Remember the things that you did do, because man, when you can't do those things, you're going to remember those. It's just going to be somewhere you're going to be smiling every single day. It's like, oh, what day is it? Oh, it's October 19th. Remember anything that happened on October 19th? Yeah, that's the day I split my head open at Motionless in White and stayed.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah. 2 years ago on October 19th, the day we were recording this, it happened. It showed up on my Snapchat memories. I'm like, oh yeah, because I ripped off a piece of someone's flannel that they gave me, and I tied a bunch of toilet paper to my eye so I could be I looked like a pirate. I got back to the pit. I'm like, guys, I'm not jumping back in because I don't want to bleed over everybody. They're like, yeah. Are you going to still be on the edge pushing people? Oh, fuck yeah. Didn't get stitches. Should have gotten stitches. But you know what? Rock on.
Rock on. The memories. So you'll never forget that show now.
I'll never forget that one. I'll never forget any show I get injured at. I will never forget because I get injured. I am not leaving this.
No, yeah. Sometimes I will be so fucking ill that I'm like, I don't care. I am making it through this show.
And those are the ones that you remember most, correct?
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of random things that happen in shows that just make me remember them. Or things with the bands, for example, when I saw Breaking Benjamin at Louder Than Life, Benjamin actually saw his barricade. He looked, he walked by and looked at me and then waved at me. I was like, ah! Shit like that, you don't forget it. Or the interactions you have with people, you don't forget it.
Yeah, as I was saying, the people that I know their faces, I know some of their backgrounds, but I don't know their names. I'm like, my no-name family, I'm going to remember you. And every show I go to, I still see them. Right,
you recognize the faces. You're like, hey, it's you!
Yeah, it was even the same way the previous weekend because I went to go see the Who. Yes, the Mongolian metal band.
Oh, they're so cool live.
And I was talking to all these different people. I'm just and half of the crowd was native Mongolians. I'm just I didn't know we had this many Mongolians in the city. Okay, this is cool. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're the Who's doing their whole entire set, but then they're talking more in between songs. I'm like, what are they saying? And the person that was next to me was basically translating it for me. I'm like, oh, this is fucking sweet.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then everyone just
flex on you real quick.
Absolutely.
Right near me, I have a set list from them from when I saw them at Louder Than Life. I have their set list, and that is the only set list that I have.
All right, now I have to ask you this question because it's something that I am terrible at, but because you're talking about you have a set list from the Who, from Louder Than Life. especially with you being up on the barricade a lot of the times, like, because I've watched some of those TikToks. It's like, bands I saw up close at Aftershock, at A Lot of Life, and Incarceration.
Like being like up front, like I always make my way up there.
Exactly. So if that being the case, do you tend to get a lot of stuff thrown your way from bands, like different, like guitar picks? And I mean, you only said you only have one set, but like guitar picks, drumsticks, all that stuff.
Through festivals, yes. I don't know if it's just because like I'm a young woman, but a lot of times, like, it's not really like the bands, it's like the security, like they'll look at me and they'll be like, here you go. Or like randomly those come up to me, they'll be like, here's this guitar pick. I'm like, thank you, old man. Like, I appreciate that. I'm like, wow, like blow a kiss.
Ari, I might have to flex on you a little bit though, because you flexed on me at one point, because there's only been one time.
I'll do it.
One time I've ever gotten anything handed to me during like a live set. It wasn't a drumstick. It was not a guitar pick. It was a recorder.
Oh my god. Who did it?
Is a guy named Johnny Nobody from the deathcore band Kill the Imposter.
That's a nice record. I don't know if anyone else will be able to see this, but this is sick. Like, play Hot Cross Buns.
Oh, it's gonna be squeaky as all hell. Trust me. Well, every single week, like every single Thursday, I do a different. I call it Kevin's Crappy Flute. It's a different cover of a different song every single week, and basically, I just play
with
the flute over
recorder.
I play the flute over the vocals. I do not practice it. I do it in one take, and it is crappy as all hell. Like, it sounds bad, but it's just funny. So the reason that came to be because I remember the recorder story from what I had with a podcast I had with Johnny Nobody and Kill the Imposter, where I sort of convinced them to put a recorder solo in a deathcore song.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So when I saw them at Blue Ridge, they gave me the recorder.
Yes.
And now whenever I do those videos, because the last
one
I
have them like sign it, like the mouthpiece.
No, because I actually play it. Like, this is my flute that I play when I do the crappy covers. So, it's
amazing.
It's just I never get anything thrown at me, but like, I got this.
You got a recorder. Like, you can flex on people because who else can say that?
I don't know. Fans of Kenny G.
Yeah.
So a little bit more into like, a little bit more looking into the future with the whole entire thing with MoshToker and TikTok, because I do want to get a little bit more into that as well. Even though I knew like we were going to talk about it, but then also have like this whole on like musical, just us just having a good time talking about music. I knew it was going to happen.
Like, anyways, enough with recorders.
enough with recorders. I didn't want to stop that conversation because it was fun as all hell. So, question is, when it comes to like the future of MoshToker, it's what's the future looking like? Any plans in the future for anything big? And how do you plan to continue this growth so that you get to, past that 300,000 mark, then get to 400,000 to 500,000 followers, all the way to the point where,
oh my gosh,
you get to that magic point where all of a sudden, at the follower count, there's no longer a K next to the number. It is just an M.
Stop. Million. Oh my God.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. So I know what the plan is to get to that point.
Oh man. So like I have like personal like things that I would like to happen in the future, like for my personal stuff. But in terms of MoshToker, we've as a group collectively, we've kind of just been taking it like day by day. Like today we were talking, like I was talking to them like how I can improve as like, I don't want to say the word being a leader, but like, like how can I facilitate like making this a better experience for everybody. And like we've been brainstorming ideas about like things we're gonna do and like collaborative things we're gonna do. So honestly, in the future, I could see us doing more of that. Like we were talking about maybe next year, like all of us being at a festival together, like that would be really cool. We were talking about doing like virtual meet and greets with people. Like I think that would be really sick, like through Zoom or something. Cause mind you, everyone in MoshToker, we all live like around America. Like we have some people in California, we have someone in New York, me being in Illinois, like we got a little bit of diversity in terms of locations in America. But yeah, just for like future plans, just finding different ways, like either collaborate with each other or other people, or even like we've collaborated with like record labels. Like I would love to continue that, like having those connections with other bands and stuff like that. I'm open ears, I have an open mind, so I'm seeing where life kind of takes us, to see like what happens.
That's not a bad way to go about it. And I do like the fact that you're talking about doing different collaborations, because it just brings a whole new audience, not only to rock and metal, but also to your audience, to these bands and all that, but these bands' audience to you as well. So if like you're going to be able to get connected with record labels or even potentially even PR firms, just be like, okay, can we get something set up where you do like a quick 10-minute like thing on, all of a sudden, here's a video, let's just make this happen. All of a sudden, bing, bang, boom. You crank out the video, you take 10 minutes of an artist's time, especially when, if they're going through a PR firm, they deal with someone like me, they might be dealing with me for like a half hour to an hour and a half. With you, dealing maybe like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, that's like, that could be like a godsend. It's like, holy crap, they don't really need much of my time. Hell yeah. And all of a sudden, now you could potentially have something where, every single like Monday or every single Tuesday, every single like other day, one of the TikTok video you post could be a collaboration with an artist. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're doing a collaboration with Danny Case from Ashes to New. You're doing a collaboration with Chris Motionless. You're doing one with Spencer Charnas. And it's just all of a sudden, here come all these different people. And next thing you know, all of a sudden, let's take a look at these follower numbers and these likes numbers. Okay, why is this like going up from... Why is it 4 to 5 M right now? Why are these videos, these average views going up from 30 to 40K to 100K? Why is the follower count have an M button next to it? Oh my God.
We've done it! No, yeah, that would be so sick. So far, Bring Me the Horizon does follow us. And a band called This Wild Life. Dakota is a member of the group and just told us today, he's like, oh, do you know that they follow us now? I'm like, really? I didn't know that. That's so cool.
So, but also on the personal side of things, like with your, because with MoshToker, again, it's a collective effort from multiple different people, but from yours specifically, from your personal aspect, when it comes to growing on TikTok, continue to grow MoshToker, continue to grow your personal brand as well. What are the plans for that?
So I'm currently a college student getting a degree in something that I don't like. I've lost a lot of motivation for. So like my true dream is to be somewhere in the rock industry. And I don't know what that's exactly going to look like, but I'm really, really hoping like as my page grows and as, I work with different bands and record labels and, they know my name, they know my face. I'm hoping that somewhere along these lines, I'll be given like some kind of opportunity to be in the rock industry and make that full time. That's like my absolute dream.
That is a good dream to have as well. And where you are right now, especially with MoshToker and where you are personally on TikTok as well, it does stand to reason that you're well on your way to that, because you are already getting that exposure, and you're getting that exposure to the fans, you're getting exposure to the bands, and also to record labels as well, to different PR firms. That exposure is going to happen to the point where you never know where it might take you. But it's something where you've started something, you have something that is very tangible right now to really grow from in any different direction you want within the rock and metal world. So keep rolling with it and just see what happens.
Thank you so much.
and Erica, this has come from someone who in college studied economics and would much rather be podcasting, talking to bands and people like yourself than, managing different data sets.
Oh, yeah. Props to you, because I took AP Econ in high school and I was like, nope. Nope. I don't know how people like major in that. Like major props to you.
Well, thank you, for giving me major props for my quote unquote boring major.
No, it's interesting. Like some people like they take Econ and like, this is my shit. So it's not for everybody. I mean, people probably look at my major and they're like, ooh, not into that,
All right, well, then I have to ask, what is your major in college?
It's a long name, so it's molecular and cellular biology. So some people probably like, ew, biology cells. No.
I'll say probably when it comes to molecular biology, I'm as confused with that probably with you as confused as economics. But just again, how our brains work, but as you've gone through, it's like, you said you've lost a lot of motivation towards it, and you found out what you want to do within the rock. Like you want to go in and do something within rock and metal. You're not necessarily sure what that is, but the best part about it is you have a start. Like you've already created something that is tangible, something that people are looking at, something that bands are looking at, something again that record labels, PR firms, whoever might be in the music industry has a chance to look at, and they have a chance to see that. When it comes to you, when it comes to your personal brand, when it comes to who you are as a person, it is something that is positive for the rock and metal community. So as you continue to grow on TikTok and other social media platforms. And you never know, you might be able to continue to collaborate with other artists, even connect with other artists to the point where you're doing multiple different things with them, for them, whatever it might be. You never know where it could go. And you never know where your passions could end up taking you. But the one thing you do know is where you want to be. You just don't know exactly what you want to do in that, but what you want to do might not even be created yet. You might end up creating it yourself. You never know how that might work.
Yeah, and same to you. You know, like you mentioned, like you'd rather be doing podcasting, and like look at you, like you said, you interviewed The Warning. Like that's so awesome. They're literally on Octane, like.
And we're just gonna keep on trucking with that as well, because
like keep on going. Consistency will take you very far.
Oh, very much so. And one thing that you and I both know when it comes to stuff is this is not easy work in any sort of way. It's like if you want to make something happen, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort. And sometimes, you know, you got to drop some certain things that might be the responsible thing to do to make what you want to have happen. But if you go and take that, you know, quote unquote responsible route, then you're going to end up kind of just forgetting about your dreams. And then you're going to end up potentially going on in life and you'll be wondering the what ifs. You're going to have that little bit of regret and that's going to grow and grow and grow. You don't want to live with that. So if you got a chance, if you got the ambition, fucking go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Like spot on.
we went from talk about TikTok to us just geeking out about music and then to full on like motivation
talks. No, I love it.
It's just the flow of the podcast. It's like, okay, here we go.
Well, yeah. Like, you know, Six Flags in Gurnee, Illinois.
Yes, very much so. And, oh, God.
Like the eagle, you know, they ride the eagle. It's like up and down.
Oh, God, I got stories about the last time I was there. Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I've been there.
Yeah, it was a school field trip in my high school, and my whole entire soccer team. We ate some special food before we got there, and I was walking around and I'm like, why is this thing like? Why? I feel fine. Why is it not hitting me? Then I saw my friends on the team, and I'm just like, oh, you guys are feeling it big time now. Like they were out of it. And I'm just like, thought this was gonna be cooler. Guess not for me. Past these guys, they're just like their eyes are red. They're just like,
I can't imagine being on that level and riding like Raging Bull or something.
Oh, that's what we did. We tried to hit every single. They freaked out the most during Superman because when you get flipped up and you're on your stomach, they're just like,
like, oh shit.
I was laughing the whole time because I was laughing at them. I wasn't laughing at my own experience. Like I was laughing at what they were going through. I'm like, this is funny as hell. Come on.
Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine. You know what? That's something that I can honestly say I've never done before, but there's a first for everything.
There is a first for everything. And even like, you know, just bringing it back to college as well, there's a first for everything. You know, sometimes you're going to have to jump into a mosh for the first time, which, you know, I jumped in the first time and now anytime I go to a show, I'm like, if there's not one, I kind of get mad. Or crowd surfing. I never done that. All of a sudden.
Crowd surfing. Yep.
Have you ever done that? I would assume yes, because of how many shows you've been to.
So like now it's like I'm making a tradition. So every time, Incarceration Louder Than Life, Aftershock, every time I did a post on Instagram, and at the end you see like 3 different videos of me crowd surfing to the point I met a couple people that recognized me from TikTok, and I was so happy I got to hang out with them at a couple shows, and they're like, all right, Eric, like I need to see you crowd surf because you do it all the time. Like I need to like see this in front of me. Yeah.
It's like, all right, send me up.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, lift me up. Help me out here.
I've only done it twice. I'm like, you know what? I probably won't do it again due to the fact that no one wants to actually pick me up.
No. Oh my gosh.
I become more the guy that's just like, you know, I'm just gonna throw people as much as possible, but also carry people from one end of the pit to the other. If people like send them to the pit, we're like, okay, stop. Okay, carry. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, when I was at Aftershock, this was so strange. Like I'm so used to how the normal flow of crowd surfing is, you know. So it was Gojira, Silvera came on. I was like, all right, it's my time to go. Like this is my time. So I asked these older guys, I'm like, oh, can you lift me up? And I'll demonstrate like with my hands. Like people are listening, if they're listening, like they wouldn't see this, but like they lifted me up by my legs and put me like straight up in the air. And then just like drop me. I'm like, this is not what I was asking for. Like you're like, I always stand backwards, like my back towards the stage so they can like pick me up by my back and like I go backwards. They lifted me straight in the air, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this information. Like, this is not getting me very far.
You're literally supposed to stand there on top of the crowd and wave to go cheer and be like, hey,
I'm like,
how you guys doing?
Yeah, like all the way back here. It was so strange. And then this guy was like, you gotta grab her back.
It's like, come on, this is crowd surfing.
Eventually they kind of got it. But then when I was crowd surfing, like, again, people like grabbed me to the point where I was sitting straight up in the air. I'm like, this is not correct. Like, get me out of here.
It's like, no, what are you guys doing?
So weird.
You know, he's got to, go to all the Midwest festivals. We know what we're doing when it comes to crowd surfing. It
was so, yeah. Oh. No, Incarceration, especially Louder Than Life, they were awesome with the crowd surfers. I'm sure people in California are fine with it too. It easily could have just been the crowd I was in, or like the certain people I asked. Very much could have been that way. But even then, like, they were dropping people left and right. I'm like, man.
Oh, you should have seen we had to deal with for a day to remember when it was here in Milwaukee, because they did, I think it was, what song was it? I think it was during Mind Reader when they were now doing the crowd surfer. Yeah. And the amount of people that were being sent was utterly ridiculous, to the point where we literally closed the pit so that we could take care of all the crowd surfers. Yeah. At one point, there was someone, she was maybe about, she was rather small, but all of a sudden, like, we were trying to send her forward, but we had so many people in front of us, like, it was like we had to hold her and wait. And I'm literally holding her the whole entire time, like,
waiting.
Just waiting. And all of a sudden, like, my face is looking like, like I'm in a little bit of pain. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, my finger's like, oh, you're the broken finger guy? Yep.
Like, yeah.
She's like, oh, you can let me down. I'm like, no, we're doing this. Like, I'm not giving this up.
I love that.
All of a sudden, we get a little bit of like space for us. So I just like throw her up. I'm like, let's hope for the best. Right as I do that, all of a sudden I turn around, I get hit in the head with somebody's like butt. I'm just like, oh, come on, why?
Oh, that's the worst. I hate like when, you know how like sometimes like people like absolutely throw a crowd surfer. When you're the person that the crowd surfer is being thrown at, it is not fun. When all of a sudden, boom, you get hit in the head with like a crowd surfer. You're like, wow.
I've been hit in the head with a crowd surfer's butt. I've gotten a black eye from a crowd surfer's combat boot while I was holding two people up, one with one hand, with the other hand. They came flying. I'm just like, shit.
Oh my God.
And I'm still holding up. That was, when I got hit, that was at Riot Fest. Another Chicago
festival. Well, I'll be there next year. Misfits and MCR.
That's right. MCR is able to. I tried getting the ticket for Saturday this year, when all of a sudden it was like a couple days in front, like Faith No More dropped down. They're like, oh, we're going to add Rise Against. I'm just like, someone get me down there.
Like Slipknot. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't. I was trying to trade my ticket that I had in Milwaukee as well for it to kind of like sweeten the pot, but I couldn't get a good price on it. And the trade value was, someone didn't want the trade value. And my ticket was for Shinedown. I'm like, this ain't the worst thing in the world. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, Shinedown's awesome too. I saw them in Iowa this summer. I believe it was this summer. They're awesome.
I saw them at the rave, and I'm like, you know what? The crowd just wasn't as good as it could have been. So I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
They'll be back in Madison, Wisconsin in February. So let's do it again.
You're like, all right. No, they're one of those bands, honestly, that sounds exactly like they do when you listen to them on Spotify. And I appreciate when bands are like that so much. Like, they just sound identical. That just goes to show how truly talented they are.
Oh, absolutely. And because I know when you brought up Breaking Benjamin with Ben, waving, you like, hey, how's it going?
Oh my God.
Like, the one that I always bring up for that is Breaking Benjamin. And the reason I bring it up is because the first time I saw them, they did an acoustic set. I didn't even know it was an acoustic set they were doing. So it was a full acoustic set. And I'm like, they still sound just as good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is legit. Like, this is straight up awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember when Brent Smith and Zach Myers, when they did that like Smith and Myers show. Like, I don't know if you remember that. They were at the Forge. That was beautiful.
Shit. The Forge keeps getting all these good bands. I gotta end up getting down to
I'll be there in a couple weeks for Atreyu and Crown the Empire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I actually saw that. I gotta look that up because I can't remember what day it was, but I remember it was. It was close to something that I wrote.
December 2nd.
It was on the 2nd.
I think it's December 2nd.
Well then, fuck! I should actually go to that show and be.
Yeah, you should.
for the sole purpose of, I don't even care that's a Thursday. It's because it's my birthday that day. I'm like, I want to go see a show on my birthday. That'd be the perfect one to go to.
Oh my God, you should. That or Chelsea Grin with Brand of Sacrifice and Kingdom of Giants.
Oh
my God. Both of those tours are going to be like at the same time. And they're going to be in the Midwest.
Yeah, because that Brand of Sacrifice one is on they're in Madison the day before on December 1st. So I'm just like, I could literally die for my birthday.
And then I'll be at the Belvedere show, like in Belvedere, Illinois.
Then like the following day on the 3rd?
Yeah.
I gotta show up to one of these at least.
Yeah, you should.
It's like, why are you here? For the birthday throwdown. That's the sole purpose I'm here.
Honestly, that's like the best way to spend your birthday though. Like I can't imagine a better way to spend your birthday than going to a show.
All right, fuck it. It is gonna be settled. I will either be at the Forge on my birthday or in Belvedere on the day after, because I know it's a little bit closer to where I live and it's on a Friday. But you know, the Forge on a Thursday. And if it's I kind of want to just say yes and be like, you know what, fuck it, let's do
And I have
this.
a suggestion for you. Next time you go to the Forge, so in Joliet, there's this donut place that's open 24 hours. It's called Home Cut Donuts, and it's so good. And again, it's open 24 hours. So like after you go, you can like go get donuts, and it's like right down the street.
It's like, 'cause I'm always really hungry and really thirsty after a show.
You're like, all right, Taco Bell.
No, I always pack a cooler and put it in my car. If it's a show that's not in Milwaukee, it's like, I'm gonna need me some like peanut butter sandwiches. I'm gonna need me some Cliff Bars. I'm gonna need me a bunch of Gatorade. Like, I'm set.
Oh my God, Cliff Bars are my diet when I go to festivals. I just stock up on Cliff Bars. That is my diet. That and alcohol. What a nutritious diet to have.
Hey, you're getting all your nutritional value from a rolled oat Cliff Bar, and you're killing off any bacteria with alcohol.
Yeah.
It's not a bad diet, I'm not gonna lie.
Getting plenty of carbs.
and you're gonna be at shows the whole entire day, so you're gonna burn those off right away. It's not gonna matter.
Right. And like I feel like your mind is so busy and distracted. It shows like, I don't know, for me, I forget like food is a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's like a survival thing. Like I forget.
I never forget water's a thing, but I always do forget food is a thing. Because at Blue Ridge, I think it was both Friday and Sunday. When I walked in the festival, by the time when I walked in and when I walked out, I had eaten nothing. I was there for like 10 hours. Just moshing every step of the way. But water, I'm just like, drinking.
Yeah. Especially like, I have a pit or something. You're like, whoa, I need some water.
That was after every single set. I'm like, okay, let's refill up this collapsed water bottle that I brought, even though it was a full water bottle at one point. Now it holds like 1/4 of what, or like 3/4 of what it did because it's all collapsed. But this will do. All of a sudden, get to drink water, get back in. All of a sudden, the pit forms. I'm just like, I'm there.
You're like, I'm here. I'm good now. Like, just need a little break. I'm good. Water break. I'm good now.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'll put it this way: as much I think as I'm a festival pro, you definitely have me beaten every single aspect of
It's a matter of like 6 weeks. I feel like I'm a festival pro now.
There is one tip I always give people though: if you're gonna be in a mosh pit, not gonna lie, this is a real pro tip, and I use this all the time. If you're gonna wear shorts or pants, whatever it might be, doesn't hurt if they have zippers on the pockets.
Ooh, yeah.
I've seen so many phones and wallets and, well, because of a day to remember, a passport lost.
No, see, I wear a fanny pack. That's the way to go. You have all your stuff in front of you, like secured. See,
that's the way to go. I'm talking for me, mosh pitters, pockets that have zippers on them. That's the key.
Yeah. That's smart, though. That's smart.
If you're not going to be in a mosh pit, the fanny pack does real well.
The amount of times, like, you're in the middle of a show and some guy's, like, under your legs looking for their phone or something. I'm like, oh, my God. Or, like, their glasses or whatever it is.
Or the amount of times I'm holding up phones and glasses and, like, wallets in the pit, just like whose are these? And then all of a sudden the song starts. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this in my pocket because I want to mosh. All of a sudden the song's over. I hold it back up like, anybody's... If it's a phone, I will literally click the on button so you can see like the lock screen. So it's like, anyone recognize this one?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Erica, as we bring this incredible podcast to a close, because we've talked about a lot of stuff from TikTok to what you want to do in the future with music and what you want to build TikTok into, from us just geeking out about music, like, couple rock and metal fans naturally would. And on top of that, even some
their natural habitat.
even some full-on motivation. Yeah. I always like to give whoever I have in the podcast a chance to say anything they want to say and plug whatever they want to plug, promote whatever they want to promote at the end of the episode. So Erica, the floor is yours.
Take the floor. Well, if there's anyone that's listening to this point, because I feel like we've been like an hour and a half in, like, thank you so much. What an honor, like, that you're that like interested or invested in like what we're talking about. Like, and then just in general, like, I appreciate any kind of support that I get. Like, it honestly just like makes me tear up. Like, it's just so surreal to me, especially like listening to this podcast, or even people that watch one TikTok video of mine and like scroll past, or like someone like that likes my stuff enough to follow me, or like my stuff enough to follow me on Instagram or support me in any kind of way. Like, I just appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, seriously, and rock on.
That is one hell of a way to put it. Now it's time for me to end this with 3 things I like to end the podcast with. So first things first. So everyone listening up to this point, first off, thank you. But when it comes to Erica, when it comes to MoshToker, I mean, we've talked about a lot of this stuff. And trust me, you're going to want to, continue. You're going to want to actually either continue to follow or start to follow Erica with everything she does, with MoshToker, with everything else. So, you know what? Go find it online. Go support her if it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, especially TikTok. I'm going to say that twice for emphasis. Emphasis! Yes, I had to put a Drake and Josh thing in there for the win. So instead of having to search this up, because I know you guys like convenience. Again, econ major, convenience. It's such a great thing.
See, I love that. The ties.
Go to the description of the podcast. You're going to find Erica online. You're going to see links to whatever I can find for her, so you can follow her stuff. You can, interact with her and get to know more about rock metal music through her as well, and help get that, gap of the followers, so we can change that K at the end of the follower account into an M. Yeah.
Oh,
M.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
My crappy
talking to you too. This is so sick.
And now time for number 2. So Erica, there is always something I like to do, and it's more of a promise actually that I like to give to everybody I have in the podcast that I've absolutely enjoyed having on here. So when it comes to bands, it's usually the same thing. And I've done this to every guest I've ever had on. You, my God, have not broken this streak whatsoever. So I'm extending this promise to you as well, but I have to modify it because, well, this is a different situation. Yeah. Typically, my promise is whenever I see whatever band I have on for the first time live, my promise to them is first rounds on me. However, I feel like I have to modify this one just a little bit. So there's going to be a couple of potentials for this. So we can do a couple of things. 1, you can always still do first rounds on me at a show. That's possible. 2, this one could be different because I know how much I like to go see live shows. I know how much I like to go see live shows. I like to be a pit, go nuts. First live show is on me. That could be a possibility.
Oh my gosh.
On third possibility, if it's at the Forge in Joliet, Illinois, if it's there after the show, we go get donuts. And donuts on me.
I love this. I will definitely have to take you up on that offer.
Please do. And if you see me at a show, it's like, hey, I'm taking up that offer. I might be like, yep. Okay, let's go. Yeah.
After the concert though, like not in between.
No, not in between. Not in between because I know very likely during a show, if in between, you're still going to be way up front and I'm going to be in the middle, next to a bunch of guys that are just like,
me and my natural habitat, like up in the front.
And I'll be in the middle going like, let's go. So,
yeah. And if you're not injured by the end of the show.
Even if I am injured by the end of the show, I'm still going to be there. I have proven that on multiple occasions.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So that is my promise to you, and I say it as a promise because, well, I like to keep my promises, and I always like to repay in my debts. So making that happen.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. And Erica, as we end this podcast, saying goodbye, yeah, that is definitely not how I'm ending this podcast because that is way too final to the point where got a couple ideas. 1, next year around this time, let's do this again. Let's have you back on the podcast, and we'll see how you continue to grow with MoshToker and see where you've gone from here, especially with your ambitions to do something more in rock and metal, and hear some of the other crazy stories that you might have. Also, because, well, I have to make good on that promise as well. So I'm going to make it happen one way or another. So that's going to actually come with me, having to see you face to face. So saying goodbye, that seems way too final. That seems like, that's it. Yeah, that's the end. No, it's not the end. So Erica, I'm going to end it with how I always end these podcasts. See you later.
See you later.
Well, folks, that was my interview with Erica of MoshToker on TikTok. Please remember to go to the description of the podcast to find the Find Erica Online section and follow and subscribe to whatever social media platforms she is on, specifically the TikTok one, though. Yes, you guys know for me personally, not that big in TikTok, but I am going to push this MoshToker stuff and Erica stuff heavily. Why am I going to do that? For a very simple reason. That simple reason is this. Talking with her, she is one of the most incredible, genuine people I think we've ever had on the podcast. Just the energy, the happiness that music ends up bringing her and what she wants to do in life, and the fact that she is working towards it and doing it just keeps rolling on and on and on. And it's something that's going to end up not only helping her, but helping up us with the podcast as well, because, she's on the podcast. I hope she's a friend now. I mean, that's the way it seems. But more importantly, it helps rock and metal grow. Let's keep this up. Let's keep this going because, again, a lot of the kids are on TikTok. So you want to get that next generation to rock and metal? Boom. Let's help support Erica because her platform is helping make that happen. So again, follow her wherever her social medias are. Link subscription. We will make sure you are able to do that. On top of that, please follow us, Chord Progression Podcast. Yes, all our socials when it comes to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are MSOTD Rocks, but that will be changing at the beginning of 2022 where that will just be Chord Progression Podcast because this is going to be our main focus. So, yeah, YouTube's already Chord Progression Podcast. All the links are going to be there as well, so subscribe, follow, like, share with your friends, whatever it might be. And also remember, thank you sponsor, Phoenix Fitness, 15% off at fnxfit.com. Use code MSOTD at checkout. So, I want to thank Erica for being on the podcast. Once again, thank you very much. Again, remember to go follow her, especially on TikTok, so we can turn that K on the side of the followers into an M by this time next year. So on that note, that is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by MSOTD Rocks, where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. Episodes with the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!